Morning, Mr. Mashaba.
Good morning, Lehana, and good morning to your team for really extending this invitation to me to come and engage on the future of our beloved country that's currently really going through serious turbulences. But I'm hopeful the waters will calm one day.
No, most definitely. And I must say, I should also thank you for the opportunity, given your tight schedule, that you had to accommodate us so that at least we can have this discussion. I really appreciate for that.
No, thank you. Look, I think it's important. I made an adult decision to enter a political space in a democratic environment. Therefore, I'm obliged to be accountable to people. I've got to be reachable. I find it really very awkward and strange in my country, in a democratic environment where people are scared of democracy. We were never scared of that evil system of apartheid. We were never scared. So why should I be scared of democracy? And for one to really be in public office, you have to be accessible. I find it difficult when people are scared of their constituencies when you're supposed to be saving them. So yeah, I'm always available as and when. Obviously, I'm not available 24 hours,
yes,
but I always do everything possible in my life when the media demands my time. I make myself available.
And I must say, those are the good prospects of a leader, because we always find it difficult, especially when we ask most of our leaders to be accountable to their constituency, because this is an opportunity where you ventilate issues, you take your constituency into confidence. So I must applaud you for that, and I hope other leaders can learn one or two things from you. And before we get into the crux of the matter, why you here, I just wanted to ask you as to who's actually Herman Mashaba, because from the kind of work that I've done, I know Herman Mashaba is from the dusty streets of Haramotsi in Hamitown, north of Pretoria. And I must say, I got to find out that you grew up under difficult circumstances as well. Could you kindly just share that with us?
Well, the reason I got into politics because I took a conscious decision at the age of 22 to live my own life. I grew up under the tutelage of my grandfather, his wisdom, because I happened to lose my father at the age of 2. Being brought up in a child-headed household, I always tell people I know going to school in this winter without school, I know how to be punished at school because my mother could not afford my 25 cents school fees. School was not free during our time. When I started school in 1966, sub A, the school fees was 25 cents and my mother couldn't afford it. And we remember being punished for my mother not being able to pay my school fees. My sisters, later on in life, they would tell me how they used to leave me while I was still young, before going to school, leave me alone at home, leave the door slightly open, and so that when I get up, I can just go and play. Yes. and they start looking for me when they get back from school at about 2-3 in the afternoon. Grew up in an environment where we had no water, we had electricity completely foreign. Grew up in an environment where my mother had to come and work here in Johannesburg, looking after white children and cleaning white homes. And I had to be looked after by my sisters because she had to put bread on the table. Very difficult. The money she was earning couldn't even sustain her or be able to pay my 25 cents school fees and still be able to really support us to eat. So it is for that reason that when at the age of 22, I took a conscious decision to defy the apartheid government when they said I can't go into business. And I would have did it anyway. And by the time I reached 24, I conceived an idea of starting my own manufacturing business.
Yeah, before we get to that, quite interesting as well is the issue that while you were still talking about schooling, there was an instance where you had to drop out from the university. If my memory serves me well, I think it was your second year of
my studies in 1979.
Yes,
Yeah,
and it was due to the protest. So I thought I should just bring that element because it interlinked with what you have exactly explained in terms of the upbringing.
Yeah, well, completed my Form 5 in 1978 at Ratsep High School in Temba.
Yes.
Attended that high school from 74 until 78, from Form 1 up to Form 5. And 1979, I went to Fullview University of the North,
yes.
Which is 350 kilometers away from my village, when University of Pretoria was only 40 kilometers away. Obviously, I was not allowed there because of the color of my skin. With the help from the Catholic Church, where they sponsored 50% of my studies, and my brother-in-law helped with a loan from Barclays Bank at the time.
Yes.
That's how I managed to go to university. Having to take a train on my own to go and register myself. My sister at the time was training as a nurse at Bara. She used to send me 10 rands a month. Second year of my studies, unfortunately, I think around about April or so, somewhere there. One morning, the university was surrounded by the army, by the White Army. And we woke up at 6 o'clock and we were given until 12 o'clock that day to vacate the university. Really devastated. And I remember quite well on that particular day, I did not even have a cent. And you can imagine living Teflup in Sovenga, you have to get transport from Sovenga to Petersburg then.
Yes.
And then from Petersburg, you get lifts to Amanskral. But we managed, and I was very angry when I got home looking at what the apartheid government they did to us. I remember first year, our practical English teacher, our lecturer, Mrs. Klute, used to tell us that half of us are not going to make it. You can imagine you get into university already in the first few weeks, your lecturer tells you more than half of you are not going to make it. Yeah, I mean, this environment,
exactly, it's quite frustrating, and I can imagine being there, listening to someone telling you that.
No, it's in our faces.
Yes.
Our economics lecturer was in the army. Of the 2 years, always come to class in army uniform. I mean, it is. It was this blatant, really abuse, and so when the university reopened, I think about hardly 2 months later, I decided I'm not going back. By that time, I'd already made up my mind. I'm not going back to that environment. It's just too toxic. Because my grandfather had really ensured that I'd live my own life, never live someone else's dream. Actually, to just take you back to the day I was born, 26th of August, 1959, my grandfather, who used to work for the Karankua municipality as a security guard, Machengelan,
yes,
he used to work for the municipality at the gate. Really said to me, my boy, please make sure that you live your life. On the day I was born, for some reason, went around telling everyone, including my parents, calling me high man. And that was not my official name.
Yes.
But you go to Haramotse, I was there last week burying my aunt. people my age and out there in that community, they still call me Hyman because that's a name that I grew up being called. But when I turned 13, 14, this name was too much, too overwhelming for me because everyone knew what I meant to my grandfather. So when I went to Form 1 in Temba, the Ratsepo High School, that's when I had an official name. I called myself Herman. This Herman came from a player for Kaizer Chiefs. Kaizer Mutawi had just formed Kaizer Chiefs. And he had a brilliant player from Southwest Africa then called Herman Pele Blaski.
Yes.
So you guys are still young to can remember those days.
True.
So and obviously for us those days the only real sport we could play every day was football. And I used to be called Pele. So that's why then I converted it to Pele. And then I officiated this name after 1994. Then you look at my green ID, you've got Herman. I'm now called the Herman. That Hyman, it's only the people in Haramutsi, the older one who know me to be Hyman. They call me Hyman.
No, that's a very fascinating story because neither myself, I didn't come across that when I was doing my bit of a research. But I must say that's an intriguing story, and I do understand where you're coming from, especially with the decision to drop out, because those days it was not easy. And some of us, we got to understand what you guys went through, and we must applaud you and be grateful for the fight that you guys took against apartheid.
Yeah, well, the plan was to leave for military training because at the time, everyone my age, mainly men, we always wanted to really leave the country for military training. The only challenge we had was to get reliable contacts to get you out of the country. Because, the future was looking dark. The apartheid government was completely mad, using serious violence against us. I remember with my grandfather in particular, why my grandfather had this wisdom and angry with the system was his loss of his brother, who he claimed was everyone in the family knows how my grandfather was close to his brother, who worked as a prison warder at Pretoria Central Prison. But he was cheeky like me. He was a cheeky black man like me. And the apartheid government made him to disappear even up to today.
Yeah.
So that remained with him and the family and his children. And would tell me about going to war, the Second World War. They were forced to go to war. How they were treated to go and defend a country that they were not regarded as citizens. And on their return, they were given bicycles, and their white counterparts were given farms. So these are things that he taught me to really understand. He always made sure that I must always make sure that I know my history and never forget it, but not allow it to determine my future. Okay. So history is what, your knowledge of history is what's going to help you navigate the future. And that's something I've learned. That's the reason why politics something's always been closer to my heart. Even when after succeeding in business, and I'm by my standards, I'm reasonably successful business-wise, but I'm a politically conscious person because of my history. I want to change that history so that us as black people can have the dignity as well.
No, that's fair enough, Mr. Mashaba. And I must say, just to take you a little bit back, but not necessarily that you should comment on it, but I must say that I didn't know about the Pele part, but I knew that by then as well, there were the likes of Lucky Staliano, Maria, those were the days. But in 1985, Mr. Mashaba, first bottle of Black Like Me hit the shelves.
Yeah.
What happened there?
Yeah, well, what happened is in 1982, I think. Yeah, 82. because obviously not getting contacts to leave the country, I decided, let me in the meantime work. So I worked for a salary in my life for 30 months. I got my first job with Motani Industries in late 80. With Spa Pretoria in late 80 was my first job. I worked for them as a dispatch clerk for 7 months. At least I was a black person who can read and write.
Right.
So I got a job as a dispatch clerk. You remember clerical jobs those days were reserved exclusively for whites. But because they did not have enough, so I got an opportunity to be a dispatch. So imagine a dispatch clerk was like one of the senior positions
by then, yes.
You could really occupy. And I worked for them for 7 months, and then I then worked for Motani Industries for 30 months. Sorry, for 27 months. So all in all, 30 months for a guaranteed salary. Then I turned 22. That's when I realized, Herman, you're getting old. And my grandfather by then had passed on. He passed on in 1978 when I was in matric. And I said, you did not get your official education. You're still in poverty, and your grandfather said you must not live like everybody else.
Yeah.
You've got to live your own dream, not someone else's dream. So I decided I'm going to go into business. I'm not going to take this nonsense. And obviously the only business I could go into was to be a trader. I felt, let me buy a car. And people were always looking for something to buy. And that's the route I took. But then, before buying a car, I realized I needed to stabilize my life. That's one of the wisdoms from my grandfather about stability, and the importance of stability in one's life. So before buying a car, I got married. Then 2 months later, I bought a car. Then 2 months later, I resigned. And then became a real capitalist, ducking and diving from the police, selling anything I could lay my hands on, including in 1983, came across a company in Johannesburg selling hair care product, a brand called Supercare. It was still new at the time. So I sold on a commission basis. I sold for Supercare for 19 months. And during that time, I was, within months, I became the top salesperson, purely on a commission basis. By the time I took a decision, I was already earning 4,000 a month plus and growing, But I still felt vulnerable. I remember when I hinted this to my wife that, no, man, this is not it. 4,000 rands was a lot of money those days. You can imagine the white guy I approached, who was the production manager, senior position in this organization, was earning 1,006. Here's a black guy on commission earning 4,000 rands on commission. I decided, you know what? I don't even want to be a distributor. I want to make these products myself.
So basically, that's what led to
So I conceived the idea of Black Like Me in 1984.
Yes.
Then put together, approached one black guy I had invited a year earlier at Supercare. We had two top sales guy, a guy called Joseph Molonto. So I said, Joseph, we've got to find a way to make this product ourselves. So these guys are going to get rid of us like they've done for years, for centuries, using our people. I said, we can't be the generation. We've got to take control of our own lives. Yeah. And we said, but now who's going to make it of ourselves? Because we had no technical know-how. We were traders. I said, no, man. One time I was going somewhere with Leon Thompson. Leon Thompson was the owner of the business, so he used to like me because I was his top sales guy. He used to go and visit my clients with him. And one time I was talking to him about the future of his business, and he identified one big risk. Was Johan Grill, his production manager, that this guy went into liquidation twice, and he got him, and a very clever, astute chemist. He says, this is one guy that's going to leave us, so I need to make sure that I can have someone to understudy him.
No.
And he didn't realize that he was giving me some ideas. So when I proposed this to Joseph, I said, Joseph, we need to talk to this white guy.
No, this is
and everything else is history.
Yeah, it's an inspirational story which needs more time. But for the benefit of time, I'm just going to move on. And my next then follow-up question with regard to the same story related, it's around the 2 books that you put, because I believe they were inspired by the concept of Black Like Me. The first book was Black Like You. And then you had a capitalist crusader. Yes.
I think these books were inspired by a lady called Moki Makura. One time, I was in, being in business for so long after the New South Africa, my emergence into business didn't make sense to a lot of people, more especially business schools. So I used to be invited by a lot to come and speak to events, business schools, or literally all over the world, including here. So at one time, 20 years or whatever, many years ago, I was invited to Switzerland at St. Gallen. They have what they call St. Gallen Symposium. So this lady happened to be here. She was here in South Africa. She's a Nigerian lady who was a journalist. So she attended to my my event at the university. So she listened to my story. Afterwards, she came to me and says, can I have your particulars? I'm based in South Africa. And a few weeks later, came to my office, says, Herman, can we please do something? Yeah. This story can't
just go, not being told.
You know? And I was reluctant. But at the same time, I was under a lot of pressure with the invitations I was receiving. I could only really do so much. I had business to run. I can't really be on a speaking circuit. I'm not a public speaker. And Moki played a key role and inspired me to write the book, and we called it The Black Like You. Helped me to get someone to assist me putting it together. And a few years later, inspired by someone else, because I was really concerned with the damage that the ANC has caused in the destruction of black entrepreneurship. Yeah. ANC had played with the unions, and the South African Communist Party destroyed black entrepreneurship with labor laws and the way they were approaching the economy. I could see, I'm not an economist. I'm just a trader. I'm just an entrepreneur. I'm just a capitalist. I could see that these guys were going to destroy black entrepreneurs, discouraging black people to want to make money and make money in a legal manner. Started attracting black entrepreneurs into politics and so forth. That's why I decided, no, man, let me do this. Let me write this book. If you look at the cover of the Capitalist Crusade, actually, the cover, I shot it in Kylie in Sheikh's coming out. This was just to illustrate. The book is actually there to demonstrate to you that please don't allow your circumstances to determine your future. You can get out of here. But absolutely at the same time, you need government that can come out with conducive economic policies.
That should be supportive.
And the rule of law. And so that book was inspired by that. And then many years later, when I was a mayor, there was there's this current one by Prince Mashaba.
Actually, very interesting. We'll still come back to the ANC because there's more that I would like to touch on the ANC. But with regard to this Prince Mashaba book, there's been controversy around the 12 million that you paid Prince Mashaba, and the book was also taken off the shelf by the publisher, which is Jonathan Publishers. And then there's also Malada coming into the picture there. And I remember there was a statement that was issued by your party to say
Yeah,
wanted to set the record straight. But can we hear it from you exactly what happened?
Yeah, well, I think, the Brutus and Prince, they're such a disappointment in the sense that they spent 4 years interviewing me and leading them to where they wanted to do their research. What happened when I was the mayor of the city of Johannesburg in a year before, 2018, I was already in my second year as the mayor. I remember quite well Prince when I was accepted to be the mayoral candidate for the DA, throughout, even including when I was a mayor, he was one of the journalists very critical of me. I didn't know the guy from anywhere. Luckily, I'm not the person distracted by noise, so I just get on. So in October 28, Brutus was working for our administration. I think he was working for one of the MMCs. And when they approached me, says, Prince wants to see me. They are personal friends. There's a project that he wants to come and discuss with me. I said, absolutely. I mean, I knew the guy. I'd never met him on a face-to-face level before, but I accepted to meet him. I said, no, I'm happy to meet him. Yeah. So came to my house with books, lots of good books, and says, look, Herman, you're one person that you've really surprised us. I'm on record for having been very critical of your entry into politics. I thought you were the biggest clown ever, and that's what you used to call me when I entered the political space. Yeah. And he showed me books of some of the leaders and so forth. He says he wants my permission to give him the permission to write the book. But I said, normally you don't, if you want to really write the book, you don't need my permission. But I said, no, you're most welcome. I'm happy if you want to have the time with me from time to time. My family, I can refer you to everyone I grew up with.
So the 12 million story, is it true or not?
Yes. Yeah. So, and then he was saying he was going to fund, he will go out and he just wanted my permission so that he can go out and look for funding for this necessary project, And it was a good concept he presented to me. And the book, by the way, fantastic. We can talk about that.
Yes.
So, few months later, he comes back. He's unable to get the funding, and he says, "No, it'll cost so much. It'll take 4 years for him because he wants to do a proper job." And Brutus is going to be in his team, and other people. It'll be over 4 years. I didn't hesitate. Here's a black guy who was critical, and I grew up in an environment where independent books were not written about us and so forth. So we owe it to future generations, because you can imagine I grew up in an environment where I could not really read about Mandela, not even mention a name Mandela. So I had written my own books, but I said, here's someone independent and academic. So I said, no, you're most welcome. I said, look, Prince, I'm happy to fund you, but then I would want the rights to this book, the royalties to accrue to me and my kids until we get the money back, whether it takes 2 years, forever. 5 years, or 100 years, as long as at the end of the day, I can get the royalties. The royalties will accrue to me.
Which makes business sense. But if I may just fast forward in terms of the publisher, did you get the new publisher for the book?
No. Yeah. It was now.
Yeah.
I don't understand him and his publishers.
Yes.
Honestly, this whole thing, for us as black and white, for us as black people, when we make a mistake, we are the only being ostracized. The Prince's publishers, they have they are equally the guilty of this. Because if you read that book, because the only thing I did when I took I took the rights from Prince, because when he lied about me funding, and I came back and I said, this guy's talking nonsense.
Yeah.
I funded the book, and I've got the agreement which him and Brutus signed, and they lied. And I said, no, I'm not the kind of person that one day you'll find me having lied about something. Because when you don't lie, you're lucky you don't have to remember.
The bone of contention with the publishers was that there was a breach of trust because there was a non-disclosure.
No,
that is why
they're talking nonsense. They're talking absolute nonsense. I'll give you a copy of the book.
Yeah.
You read that book throughout. It makes reference to my encounter with Prince. Now, as a publisher, to call a book an unauthorized, that means the author did not get the permission of that. So I think these publishers are as guilty as Prince, or even more guilty, because they've got the money and the resources, because they rely on lies that they know that they will be believed more than Prince. Prince has got, obviously, is guilty as charged. But I can tell you, these publishers, they are surviving because of being protected. Okay. I'll give you a copy of the book. Read that book, because the only thing I did when Prince lied about this, and I then called him, I said, Prince, two options I'm giving you. You either you lied about me funding the book. Here's the agreement. What you lied, that you funded this book, it's a lie. So basically, Prince, you just put me in unnecessary controversy. You give me my money back, or I take the book back. The only thing, Prince, I will do, I will remove this unauthorized. It is your book, written by you. I'm not taking anything away from it. The only thing in the book I took out was unauthorized, and I gave it to another publisher. The book, it's available. The reviews, anyone who reads that book, you'll see Prince did a fantastic job. So any then established publisher saying that they didn't know, it's nonsense. Okay. They're lying. They are disingenuous, and they survive on lies and deceit. Because read the book and tell me any publisher would say that he didn't know that the book was unauthorized.
No, fair enough. As we move along, why are we not calling you Dr. Mashaba? Because you were conferred with a doctorate.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, look, I've received lots of accolades from many universities. Obviously, the big one was from
Bloemfontein.
Bloemfontein. What do they call Free State University of Technology?
Yes.
I think in 2012 I was conferred with a doctorate in business administration. Yes, I used it when I'm at the university. It was an official thing. I was conferred with lots of accolades by UNISA, by other international universities. But I think I'm comfortable. I'm Herman.
No, but
you can call me Herman.
I think we need to correct that and put it clearly that it's Dr. Herman Mashaba.
No, it's easy. Look, I mean, whether you call me Herman or Mr. whatever, I think that's not going to really change who I am. So I'm comfortable being called Herman.
No, fair enough, Dr. Mashaba. So let's get to the crux of the matter, politics. What led you to join the Democratic Alliance?
Yeah, well, I look back running business during the dark days of my country's business. I look back, going back to my school days, looking at the environment I was brought under, how the apartheid system used brutal force to destroy our families and destroy our communities. And then obviously I went into business, and I was fortunate enough. I was reasonably successful by my standards.
Yes.
I've got money. That's the reason I'm doing politics without being paid. I don't know if you are aware. I don't get paid to do this job, but my family supports ActionSA. We started this organization so that black people can have an alternative. So obviously, after being disappointed by the ANC, what happened is actually when Jacob Zuma in 2014 was going for the second term, I had an arrangement. I was so angry, frustrated actually. I said to people around me and my family, I said, if people are going to give Jacob Zuma over 60%, I'll have to join a political party. And at the time, not for me to really be active in politics, because after voting for the ANC twice, I voted for Nelson Mandela in 1994, voted for Thabo Mbeki in 1999. But during Thabo Mbeki's era, that's when I started seeing cracks in the ANC. This is not the political party that I thought ANC was. So that's why I didn't vote for Thabo Mbeki the second period. And then DA was the biggest party to take them down. So it was just a voter, but not a member.
But was it not betrayal of the struggle?
Betrayal? How can
of the struggle that you fought for?
No, the betrayal of the struggle is the corruption of the ANC and the betrayal of a country where today we have the highest sustainable unemployment rate in the world. The black youth being the biggest casualties. We've got open borders where our youth are being destroyed by international drug syndicates. Is that not? That is betrayal.
I'm paraphrasing my question based on the fact that you went through that torture under the apartheid regime, and there's always been this notion that the DA is predominantly a white party. Hence, I'm asking, was it not betrayal?
It's a fair question, but bear in mind, at the time, DA was led by Musi Maimane. We had John Moody and other black guys, So it was a party that really, we were saying, as much as we had doubts, but we said, what options do they have? Because the other parties were just too small, or that I realized I will waste my vote to vote for them. At least here we've got black guys. Musi was really promising, So I said, that's well and good. We can complain. I'm not an armchair critic in life. Where I have to throw my head in the ring in any fight. If you throw a fight at me, don't think you're going to get me to retreat. So I'm not that kind of person. So I felt, here's some black guys working with this so-called white guys, and I thought they were progressive. Honestly, I was convinced. In fact, I remember when I finally accepted, when the DA approached me to be the mayoral candidate in late 2015, I called to my nephews, my sisters and my brother's kids, most of them with university degrees and so forth over years, because I managed to make them as many as possible for them to use education as a vehicle. So at one of my nephew's house, I called them one Sunday for lunch. To break the news, because I did not want them to hear it, that I'm leaving business to my wife. I'm entering the political field on a full-time basis. And I'm going to serve as the DA mayoral candidate for the city of Johannesburg. I can tell you half of them were straight with me, says, Uncle, we don't trust this party. And the other said, what option do you have? We know you are frustrated. You're sick and tired of being an armchair critic. And Unfortunately, it really so happened that I became the mayor in August 2016, and the 3 years I worked with the DA, discovered a different DA that I joined. So I think I tried. But if I'd stayed out, because at the time there was just no, even starting my own political party wasn't anything, because I never thought when I started being critical of ANC, I wasn't criticizing ANC because I wanted to go into politics. I was critical of the ANC for destroying the future of our country, you know. And so when I had an opportunity to take them down, DA at the time looked to really be a viable option until I went in there. And I can tell you the DA right now and ANC, they're one and the same thing. In fact, I'm totally convinced, looking at it after having been inside and looking at how they operate, the DA has actually captured the ANC.
Yeah.
Not the ANC, the ANC of Cyril Ramaphosa.
No, interesting analogy, which I'm going to park for now, but I just want to bring this element during your tenure as the mayor of Johannesburg and the ambition to return as the mayor of Johannesburg. Because under your tenure, you introduced Buya Mteto, and you made some inroads in terms of fixing
inner city rejuvenation plan to expropriate, take back buildings from criminal syndicates and so forth.
Now we see that the city is facing myriad of challenges, which are quite a concern for most of us as residents. So all I want to find out from you is what's new that you're gonna bring in on the table, as opposed to the opportunity that you had before as a mayor of Johannesburg.
In fact, I don't have to bring anything new. I just have to finish the job that it's unfinished. I've got unfinished business in the city of Johannesburg. 2 years ago, I thought to myself after 2021, I said, look, at my age, let's get someone new. More especially inspired after 2024 when I removed Celia Bring from Tshwane. Remember after 2021, we gave our votes to the DA. And the abuse we received from them, 2024, I've had enough. I said, I'm not prepared to be abused by this racist any longer. So I took a decision, I'm going to remove them. And our numbers in Tshwane were so great that, honestly, I take it is the work of the Lord. Because my numbers in Tshwane are such that you've got two political groupings. You've got the DA and the Freedom Front Plus on one side.
Yeah.
And I gave them my vote to govern. And then you've got the free ANC and EFF. Without me, they can't govern. So DA not showing respect, use absolute arrogance. They thought I was still living in 1948 when the National Party took over power. But literally refusing to provide services to the black communities, being involved in corrupt activities and expecting us to support those activities. And I said, no, this is enough. That's when in 2004, I then said, I'm removing them. The first person I spoke to was Dr. Nasiphi Moya. She was working for our party as a governance specialist. Okay. She's good at that. She knew the ins and outs of all the municipalities were involved. So I realized this lady has got good technical experience. But I approached her, I said, Nasiphi, I've had enough. I want to speak to our Senate. Our Senate is our highest decision-making body for our party. I said, I want to speak to our Senate. We've got to remove these guys. Our teams in Tshwane are very unhappy. You've got to listen to them. So I gave the opportunity to Nasiphi. And I'm so proud of that woman.
The work that she has done.
Today, I didn't know her leadership, her courage. I knew her to really be a governance specialist, but she's proven me to say, you know what, you give the youngsters an opportunity. They excel. Today, she's a household name. Turned that city around that was literally broke.
Yeah.
And with her performance, I said, can't we look for someone in the city of Johannesburg? We really tried, but there was just too much pressure on me by the party and residents of Joburg that, Herman, there's no one else who knows that city better than you do. And I believe there's no one who knows that city. So
but now
when I go back, I don't have to start from scratch. I've got policies. I know the people. I know the snakes. I know the good public servants. So it'll be much easier. And more importantly, I represent a political party that believes in social justice, which is something that the DA does not believe in. DA does not believe in providing services to poor communities.
And you're up against your nemesis, who actually, I'm using nemesis because the main reason that you left as a mayor of Johannesburg, it was because of a return to the DA, which is Helen Zille.
Yeah, because, before I joined, then with Musi and so forth, I thought she was portraying herself to really be this liberal, someone who believes in human rights and believe in equitable South Africa. Only when I got in there that this woman doesn't. And I obviously studied her and the challenges of Cape Town in the black communities. When I was outside, when she was not providing services to Guguletus, the Cape Flats and so forth, I thought it's a financial matter, constraints. And so when I was the mayor, I realized, no, man, that this woman actually misses apartheid.
Are you confident of the win, Mr. Mashaba?
I'm confident that next year this time I'll be the mayor of the city of Johannesburg.
No, that's fair enough. I haven't touched, because I'm worried about time, I haven't touched much on ActionSA since its formation. I think you have made good strides in terms of being a strong opposition. We see in Parliament, ActionSA has been vocal. You have raised a whole lot of issues, including holding cabinet to account in terms of traveling. You have also been vocal with this thorny issue of Pala.
A big cabinet, the biggest cabinet on earth.
Yes, and I'm raising this to find out as to, is it things that you envisaged when this new baby ActionSA was born? Because within a short space of period of time, I could be wrong in my assessment, but I think ActionSA is making good strides in terms of making themselves heard and being an alternative to the South Africans.
Ignore us at your own peril. ActionSA is not the party that is easily distracted. In fact, the harder people try and distract us, the more determined and more resolute you make us. I think I come from that world. Try and block Herman Mashaba from doing what he believes in. That's when you get Herman Mashaba to look for an alternative door. And I'll always find the alternative door to be even better. And that's what other political parties have tried to distract me, and they make me much stronger every day. That's the reason why we emerging as a serious force. You can imagine in Parliament, we only got 6 members, But when we deployed that team to Parliament, we said to them, guys, please go and box at 60.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, you cannot ignore ActionSA in Parliament as literally the official opposition in terms of the work that we do with six members.
Yeah.
So really very proud of our team, what our team is doing. Look at Dr. Nasipi Moya. I mean,
I know
you know, it makes me so proud. A party 5 years old, we're running the capital city of South Africa. Yeah, and the work we are doing, there's no South African who's not really proud of, unless obviously those that would want to see us fail, and they enjoy our failures. But Nasipi Moya is actually proving them wrong.
I know you're speaking highly of her, but we at times we need to give credit where it's due. I think she has stabilized the city, given the challenges that the residents of Tshwane were facing. But I cannot leave Nasipi Moya without touching on the issue of Tsholofelo Morodi. The decision that she took, is it from the party or was it her own decision?
Well, I think if anyone does not really give ActionSA overall the credit, we're a political party. Remember, let me take you back to my days as the mayor of the city of Johannesburg. Within months, I fired a DA, a member of the executive for corruption. I fired 3 in the 3 years. Fighting corruption. In the 3 years I was a mayor, I fired over 900 people, some of them laying criminal charges against them. It uncovered 35 billion rands of fraud and corruption.
Yes.
And now, let's now go back to the question of Dr. Nasipi Moya. When this issue came out in Matlanga Commission, I remember I was driving in the car going to a meeting, stuck in traffic. Past 5 or so, I heard the issue of ActionSA member involved. But at the time, the name was not mentioned, and they closed. You know, so when I got home, I inquired. The following day, the mayor went deep into this. Within hours of getting evidence, just evidence, decided to suspend her as a MECO. Did not have to, just informed us as a party, because it's not a party matter.
Okay.
Informed us. The very same night, our party, our Gauteng provincial structure, had an urgent meeting on the evidence that was presented to them, suspended her membership, giving her 72 hours, because our constitution says when there's an issue like this, we give you 72 hours to tell us why we should not fire you. Within 72 hours, not only suspended as fired as a MECO member, she was fired as a member of our party. Now show me any political party that would act so quickly. On evidence, we are not acting on emotions. Let me take you back when I was the mayor. I told you I fired three MECO members of the DA.
Yes.
Without the party's permission. All 3 of them, the party refused to fire them as councillors.
No, Mr. Mashaba, I'm really under pressure of time, but I've got, I think, 2 or 3 more questions to go. Bongani Baloy, I mean, the young man has done well in Midval. That cannot be taken away from him. And I'm raising this because I could be wrong in my own assertion, but I see a demise of one good fellow who had a promising career, but now it looks like all is going hayway for him. Are there open door for him to come back?
It'll be difficult because his demise was of his own making.
Yeah.
I mean, remember when he joined our party, I made him Gauteng provincial chairperson, preparing him to be our mayor, our provincial candidate for 2024.
Yeah.
And messed up big time. Instead of building structures, he was going to destroy structures. Destroying structures. And when this matter came to my attention, I called him and showed him, I said, Kolani, life doesn't work like this.
Yeah.
Perhaps, obviously, like the experience or something. And but I gave him an option to say, look, you are a young person. Unfortunately, for you being the provincial chairperson, that's not the job that you are cut to do, you know.
Yeah.
So let me give you another responsibility, and refused, and decided to resign. And a week later started his own political party. So that really shows you when he was supposed to do the work of building structures, he had other ideas.
Yeah.
So it is for his own making. So coming back to ActionSA, if you want ActionSA, it's a voluntary organization.
Yeah.
You can join online and start at his local level and grow up. Getting an opportunity to come to the higher level at this point in time, it's just not really possible. He messed it up himself.
Let's quickly touch on Phala Phala. It's a thorny issue at the moment, and I'm gonna put it this way. I know it might sound a bit harsh or a bit unfair. I see an obsession from opposition parties when it comes to the issue of Phala Phala. And I'm saying obsession or opportunistic in a sense that they're using it as a political terrain instead of allowing all the processes that have been put in place to unfold. And I'm raising this based on the fact that Constitutional Court has ruled on the matter. Parliament is in a process of ensuring that the process is taking place. Unfortunately, the court challenges by the president cannot be overlooked because he's exercising his constitutional right. And I'm raising this on the basis that I've seen you guys have gone to police, open criminal case on matter that was on the media, which I've got reservations with that, Mr. Mashaba, to say it doesn't make sense for me for a political organization to go and open a case on something that the media reported on. Because
media is the media the god of the world?
Not necessarily. I would have expected that a due diligence should have been made in terms of whether is it accurate or not.
On independent due diligence. We don't just act from emotions. We don't take decisions in the middle of the bottle of whiskey and music playing.
That's fair enough.
We take serious decisions on matters like this. Let me tell you, just to really correct you, on Phala Phala.
Yeah.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has committed one of the biggest crimes anywhere in the world. Why he's protected is beyond me.
Yeah.
How do you end up with $4 million in cash in a couch in your private home? When you bring in money into the country, money must go through, all of us are aware, must go through the Reserve Bank.
Yeah.
And you've got to declare it. You've got to pay taxes on that money. When a crime is committed by anyone, be the president or me, someone commit crime against me, you have an obligation to report the matter to the police. You don't take the law into your own hands.
No, fair enough. But my question is, why are we not allowing the parliamentary processes that are in place to unfold?
And then where he's covered, because obviously we've got an experience of ANC when they had the majority. They used to cover for the president. Right now, you've got the DA covering for Cyril Ramaphosa because of their numbers. So we are not going to allow the majority that is protecting criminality. The crime that Cyril Ramaphosa has committed is of the highest nature, compromised the future of this country. I remember South Africa was at one time even grey listed for money laundering. If you don't call this criminal act, money laundering. I don't know then what money laundering is, because money laundering, that's when you deal with cash. The money doesn't come through the system. It comes through couches and sofas and mattresses, and that's what our president is involved in. And we must not try and brush it. And
but will he be impeached?
Well, at the moment, if you look at the DA support and the ANC support, it's going to be difficult. But one thing for sure, he's not going to survive the court of public discourse.
Okay.
Because South Africans, we're not stupid enough. We're going to talk about this like platforms like yours and engaging with South Africans. We want South Africans to know that our president has committed one of the biggest crimes. And for us as a nation to allow ourselves to be led by someone involved in money laundering, in a case where 54% of people don't have the next meal, and the president is dealing in foreign currency with massive discrepancies. You remember Arthur Fraser said it was $4 million. Yeah. Him and his Arab friend with the buffaloes said it's 580. One of the criminals, or whether to call him a criminal, because they took advantage of those dollars in couches. In one of the police records shows his spend of over 15 million. Here's a president that's so lying to us. I think to really let him get away from it, no, he's not. We're going to use every opportunity. The parliamentary platform, because of obviously their majority with the ANC and DA. You know, ANC for many years they're spoiled because they used to protect themselves. Now they found an ally in the DA to protect their criminality. So we are not going to allow their parliamentary majority to lie to people of South Africa.
You see, Mr. Mashaba, without prolonging the discussion around Phala, my concern with the Phala issue and the opposition parties, I think most of the opposition parties in our country, that is why there's always been a challenge as to, do we have a strong opposition? Mainly because when I look at Phala, they're treating it the same way they handled Nkandla. And to me, that defeats the purpose, because the country is facing so many challenges, and the same issue, it's taking away the focus of focusing on the core functions of what South Africans need at this present moment. We're not condoning as to what is happening, and only the courts will pronounce, or Parliament will pronounce going forward on Phala. But I thought I should make that statement to say,
I must correct and help you here.
Yeah.
I'm not prepared to live in a country where we have the president that's involved in money laundering that we're aware of. I'm not prepared to live in a country where the president spends money at his Nkandla house and tell us a swimming pool, it's a fire pool. And you expect us as South Africa to say, look, this is disrupting us. Let's focus on other things. No. That's the role of the opposition in a democratic environment, to expose this, because you have politicians lying to you, distracting you from actually seeing the big picture. This country is not going to survive. It's not going to succeed for as long as we allow wrongdoing, and that is so blatant.
Okay, Mr. Mashaba, fair enough. And then quickly, in terms of migration, you have been vocal about it. And I want to find out your thoughts on the issue thus far. And then are we likely going to see Jacinta being a candidate for eThekwini? So if you can break the news here. We have seen you have appointed Darlene, Nasipi, yourself in Johannesburg. So we're waiting for eThekwini.
Khumalo,
yes, Ekurhuleni, yes.
Look, Jacinta, if you've got contacts with her and convince her to be our mayoral candidate in eThekwini, we will celebrate you. We'll give you the biggest honor.
Okay, that's fine.
If you can get her for us, I think we have a relationship as a ActionSA. We like what they do. We support them morally. As you are aware, their first big match in KZN, I've lost to Durban to go and be with her. When she came to Johannesburg, I was there with her, and we will keep on supporting their matches because they are what they are fighting for. It's a genuine plea. I remember the days of apartheid. Now in June, you know what happened 16th of June when the students, when the apartheid government ignored the pleas of the students saying we cannot have Africans as a medium of instruction. And ignored us until what happened on the 16th of June. Now this issue of illegal undocumented foreign nationals who are called criminals. And why I call them criminals? Because they've broken the laws of our country. I don't know in your world what is a criminal. A criminal is anybody who breaks the laws of our country is a criminal. So for us to have the debate around criminals, it's unacceptable. We have our own problems. 12 million of South Africans are unemployed. We have the highest sustainable unemployment rate in the world, 43%. We are known worldwide as the meta capital of the world. I'm not saying illegal foreigners are responsible. We have our own internal issues. We have international drug syndicates destroying the future of our youth, destroying our families.
Let me tell you where the problem is.
To anyone who supports these criminals, please. We want to see mass deportation of these people. Let them go back to their own countries so that we can deal with our own issues here in South Africa. Maybe 50, 100 years down the line, when we have under 5% unemployment and South Africans they don't live in squatter camps. They've got electricity, they've got ablution facilities and so forth. We've got a fair and equitable society. That's when we can be expected to help the world. But right now, as ActionSA, we put South African first. We don't want criminals. We don't want people who come into our country illegally.
Mr. Mashaba, we're completely out of time, but I must make this comment. I think the issue of migration, where we got it wrong, is when most countries, when they amended their treaties, South Africa never did. That is why we ended up sitting with the porous borders. But a quick comment from you. I've got I know it's not for me to say it's a concern, but if you could just share your views on two candidates, which is Ekurhuleni as well as Mpumalanga, Mary Party. They've been embroiled in some negative publicity, if I may put it that way. Are you not worried that's going to harm?
What negative? What is negative? About Xolani or maybe
no,
just give me anything that is negative that would put me off.
In terms of Xolani, nothing personal. I'm raising my question based on the fact that there are ongoing court cases against him. Is it not going to have...
By international criminal syndicates working with the police? I'm sure you listen to Matlanga Commission. You look at how police and international drug syndicates do working together. They're targeting Xolani. And I believe, in fact, I'm taking it personal to protect Xolani from this criminal syndicate. We are not going to allow these criminals to come and destroy our nation. And all the court cases, the recent one is facing, let's see what's going to happen.
It's fine. I was worried about publicity, hence I've raised that in terms of...
It is because of the involvement of our criminal justice system. And in international drug syndicates. Xolani has got not 100%. He's got 200%.
Mary Party, with regard to them controversies, a thing that happened, is it not something that you should be worried of?
You join a political party I think with Umkhonto managed to mobilize people and did very well. I mean, we underestimated them. And then afterwards, they had no structures, and that's why they ended up with this type of chaos.
Okay.
Right now, we as ActionSA, we're putting together our structures on time to grow properly.
Okay.
I've got experience of growing stuff from nothing to becoming big players. So yeah, I think I've had an opportunity to engage with that hardworking woman.
Okay.
Is she perfect? Herman Mashaba is not perfect.
I've got 2 minutes left. Very interesting assertion on how you addressed the issue. One quick point. You are so attached to the Lily mine issue. Could you kindly just maybe give us an indication as to what is the latest on the matter?
That matter. In fact, can you believe coming here, it was something that I debated in my mind on the next step, because as you're aware, this matter went up to the Constitutional Court. I spent over 4 million rands in legal costs to date.
Yeah.
Not helping the family from time to time. It's actually one of the most painful part of South Africa's history, of the ANC. I remember growing up how our people used to die in mines during the apartheid days, and nobody cared. And when the ANC came and coming out with new legislation to manage mining, I can tell you it's evil. That container did not collapse because it was an accident. It was an accident bound to happen. The last the case, what I was thinking about, remember in October 2024, the Mbombela Magistrate Court came out with the judgment that the owners of that mine must be criminally charged. Senior members of the Department of Minerals and Energy must be charged. Senior members of the police in Barberton must be charged. Even up to today, the NPA is refusing. About last year sometime, I even took the matter to Batoyi at the time brought the family to go and ask Batoyi to honor that.
Right
now, as I speak to you, then the National Prosecuting Authority is in contempt of a court order.
Okay. Will there be a closure for family?
Well, there has got to be, because fortunate enough, I have exposed the lie of the South African government. When they lied to us after the collapse of that container cannot be retrieved. So I've exposed that.
Okay.
They are now in contempt of the court order. They are now uncooperative in ensuring that we can get companies that can retrieve that container. There are companies that are interested in retrieving that container. Our own government, the ANC government, it's refusing to revoke the license of the criminal company that was responsible for the collapse of that container. So it is going to happen. Will it happen under ANC? It's a question of time. Luckily, ANC is in ICU, and diagnosis of their problem, it's wrong. So ANC, after 2029 is the last time we'll see ANC in government. And a new government, whether in my life or so, people are going to be charged, and that container is going to be retrieved. But it's over 10 years right now. It's one of the most painful things that... even when, going to an extent of being in contempt of court orders. Now, what else can I really do?
Mr. Mashaba, before I say thank you to you, what is your message to the South Africans on behalf of ActionSA?
I'm asking South Africans, particularly black South Africans, we're never scared of apartheid government, that evil system. We confronted it head on, different strategies. Right now, we live in a democratic dispensation. The only power that you can exercise to remove this government that has failed you, please go and register to vote, or register yourself with the IEC. Go out and vote ANC and the DA out, because these two political parties are a curse to South Africa. These two political parties are a curse to South Africa. So I'm saying to you, South Africans, go out and vote. ActionSA is your number one alternative. If not, look for someone else, but not these two political parties. These two political parties, one had 32 years to govern our country. The other one had 20 years to govern Cape Town. I was in Cape Town over the last few days. I was in Hanover Park. It is evil what these political parties have done to this country. And obviously, DA, it's a replica of the National Party. These two political parties can never be the future for our country.
Dr. Mashaba, you have said it all. Unfortunately, time is always a thief because there's a lot to touch on and to reflect as well, because some of us could say, was 32 years enough for the current party to have fixed all the problems that were created by the apartheid system? It's for South Africans to decide. But from us as Fullview, we just wanted to say thank you for your time, and we wish you everything of the best in the upcoming elections.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay. Thanks, man.
That was great. Yo.